Hello friends, I'm Amir and we want to continue our free Ccna learning. In this video, we will look at VLANs. We will discuss what they are and how they work and advantage of using VLAN in our networks. We will also configure VLANs in our networks. And using Packet Tracer, we try to learn more about VLAN. As you know, that switch can work without any configuration. Nevertheless, you can configure switches for remote management and tune some setting like banner, name, or configure interface, something like that, whatever. But VLANs or virtual local area network are a way to divide the switch into different LAN segments. And VLAN is a logical grouping of networking devices that works in layer 2. This is a logical grouping of network and works like a physical LAN. When we create VLAN, we actually break large broadcast domain in smaller broadcast domains, and VLAN isolates and blocks some network traffic if you want. Consider VLAN as a subnet. Some as two different subnets cannot communicate with each other without router, and different VLANs also requires router to communicate. But using VLAN, you can establish connection between different subnets, different networks in layer 2. Without VLAN, switch cannot establish this connection and should and must use router. But if you use VLAN in switch, if you enable and configure VLAN in switch, you can establish connection between different subnets and different network addresses. In this situation, end device can communicate together. Also, they are not connected to same switch. They are not in the same network, same subnet, I mean. And this is VLAN that can create for us. But why we should use VLAN? We should check in one scenario without VLAN and with VLAN. If you don't have any VLAN and in normal network, normal operation, when a switch receives broadcast frame on one of its port, it forwards the frame out all other ports in the switch. And it's problem. Another problem, as also said, if you have different subnets here, you can see this is subnets 192.168.1.0, 00 and 20. If you have three networks here, if you have three subnets here, these subnets cannot communicate together in layer 2, and you should and you must use router, and router can help us about establish routing. But also using VLAN, we can remove router, okay? Or we can remove three switches here. This is 3 switch here, and we can use only one switch for different subnets in layer 2. And also we can also remove this router here. This is okay. Yes, and in this situation we can use VLAN, and it works like switch works in layer 3 because this is routing. Yes. For example, in this situation, you can see I can assign 10 ports here or 8 ports here for VLAN 10, 8 ports here for VLAN 20, and 8 ports here for VLAN 30, 10, 20, 30, 3 VLANs, or maybe different assigning you can, different configuration you can, but it's also example. For example, port 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 8 assigned to VLAN 10, and 9 to 16 assigned to VLAN 20, and also 17 to 24 assigned to VLAN 30. And in this situation, all the devices can communicate together. We should learn more about VLAN before configuration. But what is or what are advantages of VLAN? The first advantage is solve broadcast problem. When we connect devices into switch port, this is switch port, you can see here 8 switch port here, 8 switch port here, and also switch port here. Switch creates separate collision domain for each port and single broadcast domain for all ports. It means in this switch we have only one broadcast domain, and it is not good, it is not effective, it's not fast. If you can remember something about from other video that I have present and I have produced, we have discussed about that, and it's not effective. And for each port you have collision domain. But switch forward a broadcast frame from all possible ports. And in large network having hundreds of computers, it could create performance problem and issue. Of course, we could use routers to solve broadcast problem, but that would be costly solution. It's very, very expensive since each broadcast domain requires its own port or router. Switch has a unique solution to broadcast issue known as VLAN. In practical environment, we use VLAN to solve broadcast issue instead of router. Each VLAN has a separate broadcast domain. If you use, for example, 2 VLAN here, it means, or 3 VLAN here in this switch, you can establish 3 broadcast domains, and it's very effective and it's very faster than only one VLAN or without VLAN, I mean. And each VLAN requires a unique network number known as VLAN ID. This is VLAN ID. This tag number, this is 1, this is VLAN ID, or this is tag. Devices with same VLAN ID are the members of same broadcast domain and receive all broadcasts. In this network, for example, in this network or this network you can see here, all the devices that are in VLAN 1 in different switch, you can see this is switch 1, this is switch 2, can communicate together directly. because they are in VLAN 1. And without any, excuse me, devices with same VLAN ID are the member of same broadcast domain. Yes, we discussed about that. And these broadcasts are filtered from all ports on switch that are not members of same VLAN. And in this situation, you can separate some subnets from each other. This is for VLAN 1, this is for VLAN 2, this computer for VLAN 3. Maybe, for example, you can assign guest computer here. You have 4 guest computer in 2 different maybe building in your company, maybe 2 floor, maybe and floor in second floor and first floor you have 4 guest computer here, and you want to assign it to VLAN 3. And for VLAN 3, you can filter something. For example, guest computer cannot get access to my database, to my server, to organization server. But VLAN 2, maybe IT works here, can get access to all of the resources like database, servers, and whatever. Another advantage is reduce the size of broadcast domain. VLAN increase the numbers of broadcast domain while reducing their size. For example, we have 100 devices without any VLAN implementation. We have single broadcast domain that contains 100 devices. We can create 2 VLANs or 3 VLANs or 4 VLANs and assign, for example, 15 devices in each VLAN. Now we have 2 broadcast domains with 50 devices in each. Therefore, more VLANs means broadcast domain with less devices, and it's very effective. And in this example, you can see here, before we have only one broadcast domain. This is one broadcast domain. And if PC1 wants to send a message to PC6, this is PC, for example, PC0 want to send message to PC1 on switch 1, I mean, from switch 0 to switch 1. The frame would be broadcast to all the users connected to switch 0 and switch 1. I mean, this one, this port, this port, this port, this port, and 6 ports here can get information and packets from PC0 and switch 0. And it is not effective, and it's performance issue. But after you can, for example, make some VLAN here, like for example, you have 3 VLAN, 4 VLAN, and 7 VLAN, you can divide network broadcast domain, one broadcast domain, to 4 or 5 or 7 broadcasts. And it's grouping. And also in this scenario also, you can see we have 3 different computers here that connected to one switch. All of them, by default, you turn on switch, is member of one VLAN, and it means broadcast number 1. Only have one broadcast. But if you configure 3 VLAN here, VLAN 1, VLAN 10, 20, 30, this is VLAN ID number, it's up to you. Okay, you will divide one broadcast domain to 3 broadcast domain. For each VLAN, we have one broadcast domain. For 3 VLAN, we have 3 broadcast domain. Another advantages are allow us to add additional layer of security. VLANs improve the network security. In typical layer 2 network, all users can see all devices by default. Any user can see network broadcast and respond to it. User can access any network resources in our network. Users could join server, database, or something like that, but by just attaching their system in existing switch. And this could create real trouble on security platform. With VLAN and using VLAN, you can control the users from gaining unwanted access over the resources. Why guests should access to database? I don't know. They don't need to get access to devices, to databases. For example, human resources or sales should not get access to IT server, and you can establish VLAN, different VLAN, and filter some traffic for sales, some traffic for HR, human resources, and some traffic for engineering in different floor. Or maybe we can give access for some users here also, and this is also VLAN. Make device management easier. It means device management is easier with VLANs. Since VLANs are a logical approach, a device can be located anywhere in the switch network and still belong to the same broadcast domain. We can move a user from one switch to another switch in same network while keeping his original VLAN. And it's very good profit. For example, our company has a 6 department and a single layer 2 network. In this scenario, VLAN allows us to move the users from one floor to another floor. Maybe engineering wants to move to second floor. And we can keep original VLAN ID in this situation. The only limitation we have is that that device, when moved, must still be connected to same layer 2 network. And also allow us to implement the logical grouping of device by function instead of location. VLANs allow us to group the users by their function instead of their geographic locations. Switches maintain the integrity of your VLANs. User will see only what they are supposed to see regardless what their physical locations. And also security. When we use VLANs, we can use also one physical device for users with different access rights. And the traffic in a sensitive group can use the same switch as that of a group with common traffic. We can filter some traffic for some users, like guests, like human resources, like database workers. Another also, we can reduce the costs because we removed different switches and also routers. Maybe we can. And performance improvement also. And administrative tasks improvement also. But what are types of VLAN? There are so many different VLANs. We have default VLAN. All switch ports become a member of the default VLAN after the initial boot off of the switch. If you boot up switch, you can see all of the interfaces, all of the ports is member of VLAN 1, and VLAN 1 is by default is default VLAN and is management VLAN and always is up. And this is VLAN default VLAN, and VLAN 1 has all of the features of any VLAN, except that you can not rename it, you cannot delete it, because we need minimum one VLAN per switch, one broadcast per switch. And in this situation, VLAN 1 is always up. We have also data VLAN. Is a VLAN that is configured to carry only user-generated traffic. A VLAN could carry voice-based traffic or traffic used to manage the switch, but this traffic would not be part of a data VLAN. It's common practice to separate voice and management traffic from data traffic. We have also native VLAN. Native VLAN is assigned to an 802.1q, and some persons also says .1q. .1q trunk port. .1q trunk port supports traffic coming from many VLAN as well as traffic that do not come from a VLAN. We can also say, if we define some VLAN with tagging system, VLAN ID, for example, 10, 20, 30, tag is number 10, tag number 2, tag number 20, tag number 30. But if any packets in a traffic come to my switch and does not have any tag, and in other words, any traffic that is sent from a host to a switch port that does not have a VLAN ID or VLAN tag specified, will be assigned to the untagged VLAN. And native VLAN is untagged VLAN. It means this tag not existed in your switch VLAN. We have also VLAN management VLAN. Management VLAN is any VLAN you configure to access the management capabilities of a switch. Your configure management VLAN is to be assigned with an IP address and subnet mask. Any of switch VLAN could be configured as a management VLAN if you has not configured or defined a unique VLAN to serve as the management VLAN. In other words, for remote access to your switch, you need to have management VLAN using SSH or using Telnet, if you remember. You have also voice VLAN is configured to carry voice device. Voice VLANs are mostly given transmission priority over other types of network traffic. And any concept also here, we have black hole. We can set and put unused ports in black hole. And this is also black hole. We can use it in VLAN concept. About and regarding native VLAN, if you have in your system only VLAN 10, 20, and 30 here, only here, if come any tag here, this is 150, and switch B search for 150. Oh, I don't have 150 here, only I have 10 and 20. And what should I do? You should put it in native VLAN, because this is untagged VLAN, and this is native VLAN. And about configuration, how we can configure VLAN, how we can enable VLAN. First, we should use VLAN command, and also what is VLAN ID? VLAN ID or VLAN number is used to create VLAN. The name also, excuse me, VLANs are numbered from 1 to 4094, but by default, 5 VLAN are reserved. VLAN 1, VLAN 1002, 1003, 1004, and also 1005 are reserved in our system. I should it start, I mean, excuse me, it should be here from 5. Yes, correct. And also, we should give any name to your VLAN. Name, and what is the name? For example, Amir, or for example, Ccna, and something like that. And all of the configuration happens under config terminal or global mode also. In the next step, VLAN is in the database, and we can configure a switch port to be an access port for a particular VLAN. There are two commands within the interface configuration mode for this step. First, you should go to the interface that you want to configure VLAN, interface fast Ethernet 01, for example, and under this interface, you should say you should active switch port mode access. In next video, we talk about that. What is access first? And also this command switch port access VLAN, and what is VLAN number that you have configured here? VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 4, 5, 1000 is up to you. Okay? And in this situation, you can assign this VLAN ID, VLAN number is same also. You can also here write VLAN ID or VLAN number or VLAN tag number 10 to this interface. How we can delete VLAN? If you don't want to have the VLAN anymore, you can use no VLAN, but also you have created this VLAN in database, and also you should go to exec mode and delete flash colon VLAN dot in privileged exec mode. And how to verify VLAN? We can use show VLAN brief and show interface status under privileged exec mode. And in this packet tracer activity, we want to configure VLAN, and we want to verify VLAN, and we want to delete VLAN, and some training we can get here. I should go here and yes. Excuse me. Yes. I have a scenario here, 3 switches, and switch 2 and switch 3 that connected to 3 PCs here, and also we have any IP phone here. PC4 and PC10 in different switch are member of VLAN 10. PC20 and PC5 and PC2 are member of VLAN 20, and also PC3 and PC6 are in VLAN 30. Yes. In this situation, PC1 cannot ping PC4, and also PC2 cannot ping PC5, and PC3 cannot ping PC6. Also, they are in the same network. You can see same subnet. This is 30, 172, 17, 30, 23, and 30, 26. In same subnet, same network, but they cannot ping each other because we need to enable and configure VLAN here. You should go to switch 3 and right here show VLAN brief. I want to check, is there any VLAN here or not? Yes, I can see here this interface by default is under default VLAN or VLAN number 1, and VLAN number 1 is always active, and you cannot rename it, you cannot delete it, you cannot shut it down. But what about 10, 20, 30, 99, and 150? I want to erase it first. Yes, I want to erase. No VLAN 10, no VLAN 20, no VLAN 30, no VLAN 99, no VLAN 150. But you can see also 1002, 3, 4, 5 also is active, and is by default is active and is reserved. You cannot use it. You are not allowed to use it. And come back to privileged basic mode and write again show VLAN brief. But also it's better to write here this command that we have seen here, delete flash VLAN dot flash colon VLAN dot dot. Yes, yes, yes. Now I'm sure about this VLAN. It will be they will be deleted. Go to configure terminal and write here and try to create VLAN 10. Yes, I have created. And what is the name? The name should be faculty staff. It should be same name in 3 switches here. But I have started from switch 2. We can come back and write also and create VLAN 20, and name should be students. And we can create VLAN 30. It's okay. You can also create VLAN 30 here. Name guest, and also default. This is for VLAN guest, and we should define some limitation here because they are guest, and we have VLAN 99. This is VLAN management, and also and native VLAN. This is untagged VLAN. And VLAN 115, and name should be voice. We have created all of them here. Come back to privilege mode and you can see we can use show VLAN. We have VLAN 1 and MTU, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and also you can write here show VLAN brief. You can see we have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30, and also VLAN ID. For example, ID 10, this is tag number. You can also see VLAN tag 10 or VLAN ID 10, and also name. I want to see VLAN that name voice. There is no voice here, but no, because caps lock was off. And you can see also VLAN 150. And anything here also is important. You can see F06 interface for VLAN 30, F018 assigned to VLAN 20, and F011 assigned to VLAN 115 and 110. Yes. We should go to interface fast Ethernet 011 and say switch port mode access. This is access mode interface, and switch port access VLAN. Which VLAN? This is VLAN 10. You can see here, this is VLAN 10. And what about 18? It should be switch port mode access and switch port access VLAN 20. Yes. And also we have number 6 here, interface 6 here. You can see here from switch 3, and put it in access mode and assign it to VLAN 30. Yes. And try to save it or copy RST or copy running startup configuration. You know better. And also we should active IP phone here, and we should assign IP phone here. Come back to configure terminal mode and interface fast Ethernet. Which fast Ethernet? This is 011 MLS QoS trust COS, and switch port voice VLAN. Which VLAN? It was 115, and you assign VLAN 115 this interface to VLAN 115 in this topology. As you can see, this fast Ethernet 011 connected to a Cisco IP phone and also PC4. it must be configured to support user traffic to PC4 using VLAN 10 and voice traffic to the IP phone using VLAN 150. The interface must also enable quality of service and trust the class of service, COS, COS, the class of service, values assigned by the IP phone. IP voice traffic requires a minimum amount of throughput to support acceptable voice communication quality. This command helps the switchboard to provide this minimum amount of throughput. Perfect. Okay. And also same process for switch 1 that we have configured before that, because we don't have any lots of time here, but you can come here and write VLAN 10 and name it. And what is the name of VLAN 10? It should be faculty and staff here, and also VLAN 20 if you remember, students. And it's same, VLAN 30, name, VLAN 99, name, management native, and VLAN 159. We don't have any 150. And also it's same process here. You should go to configure terminal and create VLAN 10 and give the name, faculty, staff, and VLAN 20, name, students, and VLAN 30, name, guest, and something like that, and VLAN 99, name lab lab lab. This is okay. This is important. All of the switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, we should assign, we should create VLAN, we should give name to VLAN, and also, for example, for switch 2, you should go to interface fast Ethernet 011 that's connected to VLAN 10. It should be switch port mode access, because it's access, and switch port access VLAN, this is 10. And what about fast Ethernet 18 in switch 2? Is 20. And what about fast Ethernet 6? Is 30. Yes, but we should go, yes, we should continue here. And now we want to try ping PC4 from PC1, or PC5 from PC2, or PC6 from PC3, because they are in same VLAN, VLAN 30, VLAN 20, and PC1, PC4, VLAN 10. We want to try. Go here and copy IP address, yes, and try to ping it. Can I ping PC4 from PC1? And go to fast forward and come here. No, they cannot. But why? Because we didn't have enabled trunking mode in switch 1, and also for switch 2, also for switch 3. We need to enable trunk under interfaces between switch 2, switch 1, and switch 1, switch 3. Trunking helps us to pass all of the VLANs, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30 in this interface. And we should talk about trunk in next video. Now, this link only can pass and cross VLAN 10. This link can only cross VLAN 20, and this link and port can cross only VLAN 30. And also here, only can, excuse me, just a moment, yes, only can cross VLAN 30, only can cross VLAN 20, and only can cross VLAN 10. And this is access. But here, between switch 2 and switch 1 and switch 1, switch 3, all of the VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 3 should cross over here. And trunk help us to create this connection. But not now. In next video, we talk about that. Yes, we should come back to quiz time. This is quiz time for VLAN. In the first quiz, what are the 3 primary benefits of using VLANs? Security, yes. Reduction in the number of trunks links, no. Cost reduction, yes, because we have removed some switches. We can use only one switch instead of 3 or 4 switch, and also we can remove router, yes. What about end user satisfaction? This is not important. Improved IT staff efficiency, yes. About performance, about administration, and all of the things, it will be they will be improved using VLAN. And no required configuration. This is not correct. This is incorrect because you need to configure VLAN. And what about which type of VLAN is used to designate which traffic is untagged when crossing a trunk port? If you remember, if we talk about untag here, this is native VLAN. Native VLAN help us to put and to help and maybe to accept some untagged VLAN here. And this is native. Which command sequence can you enter to create VLAN 20 and assign it to an interface on a switch? First, we should create VLAN using this command VLAN ID. VLAN ID or VLAN tag here 20. VLAN ID number here. ID or number here is 20. Yes, it's correct. It should be VLAN 20. The first is correct. It can be correct. It can be correct. It can be correct also. It can be correct. But you should enter to interface gigabit or fast Ethernet 01, 02, 03. And under interface, you should configure switch port access VLAN 20. And this is correct. This is not correct because you can see you cannot go to an VLAN 20 interface. And you cannot configure under VLAN. You should assign interface to VLAN. And number 1 is true. What is the default VLAN on the access port? VLAN number 1 by default always active, and this is default VLAN, if you can remember. Administrator issues the router EIGRP 100 comments, excuse me about the EIGRP. You have not created any VLAN on a new switch. Okay. How many VLAN will be displayed by using show VLAN brief command to the switch? If you can remember, if you write show VLAN brief, you can see 5 VLAN by default exist here. VLAN 1, VLAN 1002, 1003, 1004, and 1005. It should be 5. What is the valid range of VLAN IDs? Between 1 to 4094. Yes. Thank you for watching, friends, and in next video we will talk about trunk. Have a nice day, friends, and also don't forget to subscribe me and like my videos, and also support me if you can.